Buenos días. Esto es nuestra primera lectura. Nuestra lectura no es lecture. Y la primera conversación, la clase para conversar, es el martes, el 11 de enero a las 6 por la noche. Y todos estas assignments ustedes van a ponerlos en Moodle el 13 de enero. Y a mí no me importa la hora. So our conversation session is next Tuesday, the 11th at 6, and then the assignments are due on the 13th. Okay, para clase, vamos a hablar del verbo ser, que significa to be. Vamos a hablar de la diferencia entre tú y usted. Y vamos a hablar de la cultura hispana. Ok, pero antes que podemos empezar con el verbo ser, necesitamos hablar de los verbos en español generalmente. We're going to talk generally about verbs in Spanish. Todos los verbos tienen un terminado, AR, ER o IR. Hay tres diferencias aquí, tres diferentes tipos de verbos en español. Eso: tomar, toser, sufrir. To take, to cough, to suffer. Y cuando terminen así, significan to algo. Por ejemplo, cuando yo dije tomar, estoy diciendo to take. So they're called infinitives when they have the ending like that. So tomar significa to take, toser to cough, sufrir to suffer. Pero no hablamos así, we don't necessarily always talk this way. Pues vamos a hablar de... olvidé que lo hice así. Vamos a hablar cómo conjugar los verbos. Lo hacemos también en inglés. Por ejemplo, vamos a hablar del verbo to take en English. Lo hacemos en inglés. Por ejemplo, decimos I take. This is singular, first person singular. I take. Just to make a reference of like where you guys are doing. In Spanish, we do the same thing in Spanish. To talk about what you're doing in Spanish, we do the same thing in English. First person singular, I take. Second person singular, you take. Third person singular can be he takes or she takes. It does change here and adds an S. It's just an example of like we do conjugate verbs. And then plural, first person plural, we take. Second person plural, you guys take or you all take. Some in the South they'll say y'all take. And then they take would be third person plural. So lo hacemos en inglés también. Vamos a hablar cómo hacerlo en español. El verbo tomar termina en AR y significa to take. En primera persona singular decimos yo, lo que significa I, yo. Tú is the pronombre or pronoun for second person singular, segundo persona singular. Tercera persona singular, él, he, ella, she, o usted is you formal. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but it goes in the third person singular. So when we're saying usted, we are saying you, but it is a formal way of saying you. Primera persona plural es nosotros, we. Vosotros, solo usan vosotros en España o Argentina. They don't use this in Mexico or other Central American, the majority of South American countries either. It is primarily a Spain and Argentinian thing. And third person plural, la tercera persona plural, ellos, he, and it's like a group of like they, but it's masculine. Ellas, group of females. Ellos can also be a group of both, like a mixture of both males and females. And then ustedes is really how to say you, all, in countries that don't use vosotros. Súper complicado así, pero vamos a explicarlo más. Ok. Las terminados, porque es un AR, vamos a decir yo tomo. I'll talk about how to kind of form that more, but for now what you need to see is that the endings are different. So it's yo tomo, tú tomas, él, ella, usted toma, nosotros tomamos, vosotros tomáis, ellos, ellas, ustedes toman. Okay. So esos son los pasos para conjugar el verbo. Por ejemplo, yo voy a empezar con cuál verbo quiero usar. Para el ejemplo que lo hice era tomar, era un verbo de AR. Vamos a usar diferente en este caso. Yo voy a hacer un screenshot para hacerlo. Ok, pues dice aquí, drop the ending, vas a quitarlo. Por ejemplo, si yo voy a elegir el verbo caminar, no, vamos a elegir algo diferente. Si yo quiero hacer el verbo toser, vamos a usar toser, que significa to cough. So, la primera cosa que necesito es quitar la terminación. Por ejemplo, esta parte. Necesito un poco más grueso. Voy a escribir tos, 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 tos. Yo quité el ER. Y después vas a añadir la terminación correcta. Eso es un verbo que terminaba en ER, pues yo voy a estar así en el verde. Voy a poner O con yo, O, es, hemos, es, en. Y ahora yo tengo yo toso, tú toses, él, ella, usted tose, nosotros tosemos, vosotros toséis, ellos, ellas o ustedes tosen. Eso es. El verbo ser significa to be. Hay dos verbos que significan to be en español. We have ser. We also have the verb estar. This one, ser, we'll talk about the reasons why you use it in a second, but for now you need to know that it means to be. So, como hicimos en antes, yo, tú, él, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Y el verbo es completamente irregular. Completely irregular. Pues así. So what we had been doing with, sorry, I'm not going to go all the way back. What we had been doing with the endings, those were regular verbs. This is an irregular verb. It does not follow any pattern. And so it is a verb you just have to memorize. I wanted you to have a basis of how to conjugate verbs from the others, but when it is a completely irregular verb like ser, you just need to memorize it. So yo goes yo soy. ¿Dónde está? Ahí. Yo soy, tú eres, él, ella, usted es, nosotros somos, vosotros sois, ellos, ellas, ustedes son. This is because it means to be. Another important thing to think about is we also use es to describe things. So these are personal pronouns, these are people pronouns. But when we talk about like the table is big, we also use es or son if it's like the tables are big. So we can also describe things that way. We just would not be using pronouns. We would be using the noun itself. And just to, because I'm someone that goes off on tangents, just to remind you, a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So when we use pronouns, we are replacing the person's name with a pronoun, just like we do in English. My name is Ellen, but if someone is talking about me, they will use ella because that is my pronoun that I use. I did not include gender neutral pronouns, but they do exist in Spanish. My husband and I were just talking about them. Most people would say ello, and it looks like this, yo with an O. Would be a gender neutral pronoun, and you would just add an S for the plural. Okay. So los usos del verbo ser son las fechas. Hoy es el 2 de octubre. La ocupación. Yo soy una acupunturista. Las características. Él es alto, ella es simpática, ello es amable. Time, son las 3:30. Origen, somos de Wisconsin. Relación, tú eres mi amiga. So these are the reasons we use ser. So if you can see, our acronym means doctor, how appropriate. If you have questions about this, feel free to ask. That is why we are having these conversation sessions on Tuesday nights. All right. Los más importantes para esta clase obviamente van a ser las ocupaciones, las horas son las 3:30 y también dónde son las orígenes, de dónde son la gente. Y vamos a hablar después de la diferencia entre tú y usted. So, cuando estábamos viendo la cosa con los pronombres, obviamente usamos tú for second person singular y usted as third person singular, but what we are actually saying is you. So they both mean you. La diferencia es tú es informal, usted es formal. Tú is used with children, close friends, siblings. Sometimes when people are upset, they will, even if someone is maybe normally usted, they would maybe tutearlos. And tutear, lo siento, mi esposo está aquí. Tutear, muchas gracias, Abel. And with close parental relationships. Sometimes you might use tú with your parents, even though they would normally be in this category. Usted is used with clients, elderly parents, businesses, business employees. All right. So you just need to think about, like, who are you talking to and decide, do I want to use usted or tú? It does not come naturally because we do not have this in English and it takes a long time, so mistakes will happen. Just proofread what you're writing, proofread what you're submitting, and just check to make sure. If it falls into these categories, use usted. And then if you're using usted, that means you have to agree your verb. So when I say that, what I'm meaning is, if I'm using ser, I would say tú eres whatever, like una amiga. If I'm talking about usted, I have to say es These cannot be interchanged. No, no, no. You can never say usted eres. That doesn't never work. You can never say tú es. It doesn't work. They have to agree. It's just a rule. Just like we have silly rules in English. They have rules that don't necessarily make sense to people who are learning Spanish as a second language. So, okay. Ahí está. So, como yo dije, tú es informal, usted formal. You're going to use that third person singular if you're using usted. Vosotros, so in Argentina and Spain, this is how they informally say you guys. In other countries that speak Spanish that are not Spain and Argentina,
Centroamérica también, Honduras.
o Honduras también lo usa.
Honduras, Salvador.
El Salvador usa vosotros. So my husband is correcting me. He's saying that sometimes El Salvador and Honduras also use vosotros. It's so nice to have a Mexican here in my house to help me. Ustedes is how people who use you guys when they are not from one of those countries. So if I'm saying like, do you guys, I don't know, are you guys doctors? If I'm from a country that uses vosotros, I would be saying vosotros sois doctores. But if I am from a country, or if I use Spanish from a country like this, from Mexico or Ecuador, Puerto Rico, I would say ustedes son doctores. So that is how we use that. Come to me if you have questions, ask questions if you don't understand. So, ustedes tienen pacientes hispanohablantes. The whole reason you're in this class is because the thought is that you will have Spanish-speaking patients in the future. So let's talk a little bit about who those patients are. Specifically, there was an article that I removed from this week that you guys can still read if you choose to, if you want to. I didn't require it because you had a lot to do this week, and I just wanted to lessen the load a little bit. But what we're going to talk about is the difference between Latino and Hispanic, or Hispano, Hispana. Salud. Latino refers to the country of origin. So when you are saying, if you are Latino, if you say yo soy Latina, then you are from Latin America. Latin America is basically Mexico and South, so including Central and South America. It does not include Spain and Portugal. That's the big kicker, because those are part of Europe. So if you're saying like yo soy Latina, then you are from a country from Latin America. Hispanic refers to someone whose country of origin primarily speaks Spanish. So this would include Spain, but it would not include people who speak Portuguese. So for example, Portugal, obviously, Brazil. And then Brazil. Brazil being a country in South America. So if you were from Brazil, you could say yo soy Latino, but you wouldn't say yo soy Hispano or Hispana. But, and I wrote down here a little caveat, if someone calls themselves one of these words, that is your clue to continue to use it. I think over time people just pick a preference and just stick with it. Sometimes it's like based on geography, like people use a word based on where they are from, or like, for example, like maybe one of these words is more popular in California, and people around there identify themselves, I think, more using Latino. So whatever they choose, that's what you stick with. And you can ask, ¿prefieres, prefieren o prefieres o usted prefiere Latino o Hispano? Hispano, Hispana, those are the words in Spanish. So let me know if you have questions. Come to conversation sessions if you have questions about this. And then I put down here what is due for the 13th. This is a Thursday. I wanted to do that on purpose. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, you have been to our mandatory initial class, so I can explain the way that the schedule works on the syllabus. But actually I can just pull it up real quick in case you forgot. I did this here. So the order matters. You should be first watching the lecture, then reading, doing these things in order. And then if you have questions, come to class and then go back, make any adjustments and turn things in on Thursday. Then you can get started on the following week. So all of those things kind of mesh together, and I hope that this helps you. So I did take away this article on Hispanic culture, but if you'd like to read it, I'll put it back on. To be honest, it was assigned by the previous professor, and it's fine. It's just a little outdated, and I haven't had time to find a new one, and so you can have it if you want it. And then this medical professional cognates worksheet, it was something that I had done last year at the beginning so that you can see that a lot of professions in the medical field are similar words to Spanish but to English. So for example, chiropractico is similar to chiropractor. And so those words look the same. If you'd like it, you can. I'm not going to grade it, so I didn't want to give you guys any busy work. So if you're curious about looking those up, otherwise I just really encourage you to look up what is your profession and how do you say it, or your future profession, and how do you say it in Spanish. Again, if you have questions, let me know. I hope to see and hear from you guys soon. See you later.